Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll start. Hi, I'm Joon Kim. I go with EJ. I'm from Seoul, South Korea. My concentration of studying is NMDE, which is New Media Design, and ISTE, Web and Mobile Computing. Taking these courses, I've learned how to create homepage and how to make a good-looking UI and UX, which is user interface and user experience. Uh, Okay, making a new app start by my own. I had to think about those 6 questions on the slide. The first, why people need this app? I think it could be really helpful for the user who is looking for an app where they can uh, become a part of climbing community. And second, what makes it different? Uh, I found that there are many climbing apps which contains many helpful contents already. So I try to find something that makes my app different. Therefore, I was thinking like, what if I make QR code for every gym that uses my app to scan it for like sharing some information of the routes the user scan it. Third, how to use it. There's a spell meter, spell adder. There's supposed to be no R. Okay, I will talk about this later, but briefly, in my app, the user can record their climbs and also see the record of other climbers. Uh, the user noticed that some climbers climbing videos are uploaded into a feed page, which is same thing as Instagram. Then the user noticed that beneath this feed post, other user can commenting or leaving behind some climbing tips. User noticed there is also a ranking board, and there is also a casual communication board for climbers. Uh, for those who scan a QR code for the first time, they can either record their climb or they can see a list of posts from users who had climbed that route before. For conversion, maybe become a coach or gym owner and maybe become a student and purchase a basic online climbing tutorial. And fifth, what is the purpose of this app? It is kind of lonely when you go to climbing gym alone, and some routes makes people frustrated. And so make a better and clean climbing community and share some tips to each other. And last results to like some of everything I said. First, make climbing routes shareable between gym and users. Second, compare results for the climbing routes between climbers. And third, give climbers a way to see their progress. Uh, in the beginning step of designing my app, I have to make a persona to find out what kind of people are out there and what are they looking for. So first, his name is Jim. His age of 31. He has been climbing for 6 years. As an avid climber, I want to record my climbs so that I can see like progress and achievement. And other persona, David, uh, his age of 22. He's been climbing for 1 year. As a growing climber, I want to see how others solve the route so that I can learn ways to solve my climbs. And name Jay and Park, age of 45, 32. By using this app, we expect more floating population and more new leads so that we can have more customers. As a climbing gym owner, I want to see new climbers so that I can see more people enjoying my gym routes. And, and then I had to create 3 objectives from user, climbing, and myself. For the user, uh, provides a way for users to check their climbing history and compare it with uh, other users via Instagram. And for the climbing gyms, they expect more floating population and more new customers by using this app. And for myself, I want to raise interest for climbing. And here's my inspirational board. I think there there is no like uh, no answer for design, and I'll keep upgrading my design better and better. Uh, those are the navigation menu. Uh, there should be home, routes, favorites, and profiles, and under that there should be feed, explorer, scan, favorites, and profile page. And for the font, I chose Roboto, which is very typical, and Comforta, which is looks very playful, and Lato, which is known for serious but friendly. And for the color scheme, I'm going to stick with some brownish and grayscale. This is my flowchart from my app. It tells how to use my app step by step. Start with scan QR code, and there should be like two choices. If users scan a QR code, first is like suggest downloading my app, and then other is just show the routes and sign up and log in for the app or view as a guest, totally up to users. And then home screen pops up. Here is my work in progress so far. The image on the left is showing that user can post their video of climbing connected to QR code, and image on the middle. This is a profile page. User can see how many video he posted and how many followers and followings he got, and also user can check his levels by by how what level did he climb before. So it's like big data thing. Like data is keep stacking and the level upgraded. So on the image on the right, uh, uh, is kind of just Instagram main main page, and then next page. The image on the left is scan a QR code, and image on the middle is uh, like problem posting page, and last one is how to like post a video. This is so far I got, and that's it.
Thanks. Thanks, EJ. Since Ali, it doesn't look like Ali has joined us, so we do have a little bit more time. So as a person who does not have a head for heights, as I may have told you when you first proposed this project, this looks very scary to me. So I've seen, I guess if you go into Dick's, there's a climbing wall there. But that's the extent of my experience of what climbing walls look like. And I assume that that's sort of babyish. So just a few basic facts. How high do these indoor climbs go?
How high?
How high? Yeah. How high do you have to climb?
It's like indoor climb. When you go there, it's it depends on the gym. Like there's a like 5 meters gym, but no like safer tools. But mostly like 2 meters. Like you are totally safe when you go there. So,
it's only 2 meters? Oh,
yeah.
So okay. So you don't wear any harness or anything like that?
Yeah, when you go to indoor climb, you only need shoes and chalk, which is like on the hand like stick on the, it helps stick on the rock. And yeah, that's it.
But if I go 15 feet up and I fall down, I don't think that's going to be a very good result.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of coaches like tells to the beginners like how to like warn something like you have to be careful or something like that. So you don't have to worry about like any. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would need to tell me that I would have to be careful. So what's the transition from this sort of thing to outdoor climbing? Is it a totally different thing, or is there a transition for many people? I suppose there is, right?
Yeah, yeah. For me, I've been like outdoor climbing like 5 times, but it's totally different sports. Like when you go outdoor climb, you have to get something like a rope or like something like that, and maybe you need a help from like other professional climbers when you go outdoor because it's extremely dangerous when you go out. But indoor, it's like there's a sponge under the like climbing roots, so you can maybe jump or you know what I mean. Yeah.
So is it like if you go in the woods on a hike and there's blazes, so you have the red blaze and you follow the red and or the blue or the green. So are the routes laid out?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
there's like so many different level, so you can start with the beginning level. So yeah.
Okay, so that's the sport itself, and it looks like you've got pretty far in developing this app. Should I assume you're going to continue to do that? You're going to
Yes, yes.
continue working on it, right?
Actually, this is I made like all the designing things and like UI UX design software, but I need to like have to work on coding session right now, and I don't think it's. I need more person, like someone can actually help me. So I'm looking for like teammates.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it is your intention to bring this to a close. So are you thinking of marketing it? Are you gonna is it gonna become
Yes,
like a business? Okay.
yes, yes. After graduate RIT, I'm pushing hard for like creating this app. Yeah.
Do you intend to stay in South Korea, or are you coming back to the States?
I'm coming back to States.
Yeah.
I have to take 4 credits like to graduate. So
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking taking like club test or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's a whole new area for me, obviously, and I really enjoyed your presentation. So now I'm going to hand it off to Meg, and Meg, fire away.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. So I love the design, EJ. I thought it was really interesting. I'm wondering, so I see more and more of these apps that really are, it's almost like a community effort.
Yes.
So, in order to, and not just a development team, but in order for these apps to be successful, the community has to participate in it.
Yes. Yes.
So you indicated some personas. Would your goal be that if you want to utilize this app, then you create a profile for yourself and you're uploading and okay. So, interestingly enough, when we were traveling a while ago, my kids are really interested in fishing. So they downloaded this app called Kingfish. It started out very small like you, but users can actually create a profile for themselves. And then they also post pictures of the equipment that they used, the spots where they actually caught fish, they identify the fish, and then they brought in advertisers so that if you wanted to buy that merchandise, that equipment, what they wore, the fishing hat, et cetera, then that was kind of how they moved forward with funding this community space. So have you thought about ways in which you'll take it to the next level? I assume you have to have a certain number of customers or participants first.
I know, yeah. So my plan is maybe go to like climbing gym. Like there's a like Central Rock Gym in Rochester. So I used to go there, and I'm thinking of like going into there and ask some coaches about like put some QR code in it so user can like when user can see it, so they can scan it for the QR code and make it uh, download, or yeah, it's something like that.
And maybe even incentivize the gym, you know, to promote the app by putting something somewhere on your app that talks about the hours of the gym, or,
Yeah,
you know, has a picture or something.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, win-win situation for like me and Jim. So when I like making this kind of app, so user raise interest of climbing, so make it like uh better climbing community, or that's really helpful for like themselves too, like gym or like climbing gym owner, or like climbing coaches, like climbing professional. Yeah. So
Well, it's really interesting. I hope you'll keep us updated on your progress, and you know, if you reach a final product, although I have a feeling this is something that will continue to evolve over time, I hope you'll share it with us. Great presentation.
okay, thank you so much.
EJ, occurs to me another question. So there are different levels of difficulty. So is the sport so far along now that it's, you know, you have a grading system like in martial arts with belt, you know, different belts, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's like in the world there's only few people can like uh create a level because they're so good at in climbing. So in like indoor climbing, there's a level limit. So when you create a level, you can create a level higher than let's say there's a level between V1 to V20, and in indoor climbing there's only limit to V12 because it's not higher enough. It's not like, you know what I mean. But when you go out, there's still a lot of mountains or rock. So yeah, so there's only few people can create a level in the world.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I learned a lot about a sport that I know absolutely nothing about. So I enjoyed your presentation. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, good job though, EJ.
Hi, Wendy. Yeah, thank
Bye.
you.
Okay. So looks like you're up, Sushmita.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. So, okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So I am a 6th year SOIS student. My core subjects were in the field of mechanical engineering and math, and my capstone project is completely different than what I studied. It's something that I want to pursue in the future as a career, architecture. So, so I decided to redesign the exterior of Gleason College of Engineering, as it had been my college for like 3 to 4 years of my life at RIT. Um, so my topic selection, as I mentioned, that I want to like pursue it in the future as a profession. Architecture is something that I can use my creative skills in. And since I was in mechanical engineering, I had a lot of interest in like designing and building my projects, especially in like CAD software, 3D softwares. Um, so yeah, I only decided to do the exterior part of James C. Gleason due to the time constraint and um, because it was my first time designing a building using architectural software. So field work was basically I had to learn a new software altogether. Um, it wasn't a challenge, but it was a challenge in terms of I already used 3D software while designing projects for in mechanical engineering, but those were different than the architectural um, design that I had to do. I started off with ArchiCAD as it was like a more easier software for an amateur um, to understand, to learn, and to build something in which could be like easily presented to people. Um, so I researched about the building, like um, so basically I've lived in Cape Gleason for like 3 years or something. So I knew its internal structure inside out. Um, so I didn't really have to do that much of a research, but I still like Googled floor plans and everything to like keep the internal structure in mind, um, and took photos from the outside. And Yeah, so the current architectural design. So basically, it's a brutalist architecture, which means it mainly consists of bricks. If you see windows, they're like wee tiny and like they're tinted with not much room for light to enter. And the building is in such a location where natural light doesn't come easily. Like the front of the building is covered with trees, the sides are surrounded by other structures at RIT. Um, so, and because of its brick layout, it's completely monotone. Um, and while researching, I discovered that the northern side of the building was newly constructed in 2007. That's why it looked different than the rest of the building and much more modern with its glass and brick structure, with its glass ratio more than its brick ratio. So I did a little research on the history of Brutalist architecture. So it's very interesting how like such a simple design can be so helpful and beautiful in a way. So it flourished after the Second World War, um, and the name derived from the French word Beton brut. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. And it is considered as a part of modern architecture, which was very surprising to me personally. Um, so this architecture came about in Europe after World War II because since they had to like recreate structures again, um, and the economic status wasn't that great. So they used raw materials which were cheaper, like concrete and steel, to create structures for people to live in, for um, offices to be in. And one of the famous examples of British architecture is the Unit de Habitation in Marseilles, designed by the Swiss French architect Le Corbusier. So basically, what is Brutalist architecture? I've gone through this before. It's basically rough and naked, and it's constructed by exposing concrete and bricks. So you'll see the building Costner building, how you can like see the pillars inside and everything. There's a reason behind it. So Brutalist architecture basically focuses mainly on showing the structure of a building, the um, initial mechanism of a building rather than beautifying it, basically. And it is difficult to destroy, but it is also difficult and expensive to maintain because you need raw materials and a certain type of mechanism to maintain it. And it's mostly used in institutional structures, churches, government buildings, and public housing. So, as I mentioned, the design methods that I used were basically photography of the outside building. Um, so, hand sketches were a rough draft of like what I wanted to do before I learned um, the importance of brutalist architecture. And the software that I used was Graphisoft ArchiCAD to create my 3D model. So, what my design basically incorporates is it should complement the north side of the building, which was newly constructed in 2007. Um, there's more room for natural light to enter as I changed the ratio between the brick and the glass structure. So I made like windows much wider and yeah, I used glass in places where it can be used, such as like near the stairs, for the offices and everything, and stuck with the brutalist architecture. And something that I learned was using glass and brick also is a type of brutalist architecture. So this is the current design of Gleason. The first picture shows the new construction, which was in 2007. The second picture shows the south side of um, the Gleason Hall. As you can see, there's the glasses are tinted. There's like brick, brick, brick. um, and the third picture shows the front of the college, which is basically bricks with small windows for offices and stuff. Not much room for natural light to enter. And this is my design. So this is the 3D view of the front and the south side of the building. As you can see, here near the staircases, I used glass windows so that people can see outside while walking up to their classes. Um, and over here, I like kept the structures basically similar. So there's like office over here, there's the classroom, and that's the auditorium at the back. And same with the entrances and stuff. There's like two classrooms over here, the entrance and offices at the back. So in the front view, you could see that on the first floor it's like a study hall for students. So I made the whole thing a glass structure so that you could see outside with like light coming in because I've studied there and it feels dull to not have outside light coming in. Um, I've made entrances surrounded with bricks so that nobody bumps into the glass by mistake. I've done that many times. So, yeah. And this is the side view of the south entrance. You can see uh, the structure. So basically, I haven't done much inside except for put walls for the classes. And I used blue because you could see that the glass structure makes it look more spacious. And you could also see the brightness in it. Um, so, yeah. um, Conclusion about this. So I learned a little bit more of architecture. I enjoyed creating this design, and I feel like if I pursue it in the future, I would really enjoy, and probably I want to like step up a bit more than this level, maybe use a more professional software like AutoCAD for architecture and stuff. I learned that beauty and modernism is not always about using expensive materials or making it fancy using like tile structure or like this and that and gold and silver and shiny stuff. Um, I learned why Brutalist architecture is used for institutional and like such public buildings because it keeps the structure simple. It's shows its usefulness, and yeah, and yes, creating a model requires great detailing. You miss one point and you're basically gonna start over again. So yeah, that's it.
Meg, would you like to go first?
Yes, I will. So Sushmita, I really enjoyed that. I actually learned so much. I've never heard of brutalist architecture before. And I feel like the name is so fitting for exactly the almost the function that it serves, especially the fact that it's really difficult to destroy. So I'm so fascinated with your redesign. And I have a feeling that a 15-week project does not allow for something like this. But you're talking really about like retrofitting an existing building with new design. And I'm curious, and you may not have had a chance to explore this. How expensive is that compared to kind of stripping a building down and starting from scratch? I know, and this is a very small comparison, but I know when we've had people come in and give us estimates on replacing our windows, it is insanely expensive. In fact, they talked about the fact that we would see almost the benefit of doing that in 113 years, which of course we decided, well, we don't need to retrofit our windows, we'll keep our existing windows. But so I'm just curious, have you had an opportunity to do any of that? Or in the field of architecture, is that not really a part of it? Are you really just putting forward the design and somebody else is coming up with that?
I'm just putting forward the design right now because materials and everything is usually not me. I usually so architects would usually base it off of the estimate that that materials cost. Um, so okay, I'm really bad with numbers when it comes to like thousands and stuff. So hold on. Okay. Here it shows so the new structure for Gleason was like 9,500,000. So that's how much it costs to like build the northern side of Gleason, which is a very small structure. So I'm guessing retrofitting it wouldn't be that costly as like stripping it all down and building it again. Because you just have to like demolish the walls in this scenario and just fit it with windows.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed your presentation. I thought it was so interesting, and I really like how you incorporated a little bit of the history of brutalist architecture And then really what your goal was in creating something new out of something that actually has some limitations, I can see. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Sushmita, I suppose now you can't walk into your college and see it with the same eyes that you've been seeing it for 3 or 4 years, right?
No.
That must be an interesting experience. And I, next time I go by Gleason, I will be thinking of your presentation. So let me ask you this: if you were indeed, imagine that you're now an architect, and somebody comes to you and they say, "We want you to build a College of Engineering," and it's in a similar location as RIT. Would you go for a brutalist style, or would you do something totally different?
I would go with the brutalist style.
Really?
Yeah.
For what reason?
So there's many things that you could actually do with a brutalist style. Like the structure could be different, but exposing like the internal mechanisms and everything, I feel like keeping it simple and to the point for an institutional building would be much more easier as well, like more convenient for people as well, and it makes it more spacious.
So but what about the whole decorative style piece, right? I mean, it's not pretty to look at.
Yeah, it's not pretty to look at, but the purpose of an institutional building is for children to learn. So their main purpose is to be like in classes and everything. You could make it decorative by still sticking with the brutalist style. There's not much difference. Also, the material cost would be lower.
Yeah, well, I can see that, I guess. So, I wasn't here when RIT first moved out to Henrietta. But even I came in '79, and the campus didn't really have any trees yet. I mean, it had trees that had been planted, but they weren't large trees yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, people who were there back then, I'm not sure they would agree with you that the way to go was to build a brutalist campus. But anyway, I guess it's a question of opinion. So more seriously, is this project, I think you told me at the beginning that you were always going to move, you always thought that you wanted to move into architecture professionally. Has this project solidified your thinking about that? Or is it you doubt it?
No, it solidified it.
Okay.
Like it's something where I can use my thoughts and ideas in creating something useful for people to use. So and yeah, it makes me work with like 3D CAD structures and sketching and everything, which I'm really interested in. So yeah.
Okay. So you go to graduate school. Is there such a thing? There's an architecture school, right? I mean, is that what you're going to do? Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be once I graduate, I'll look into going into like my master's in architecture.
I see.
Yes.
Well, I got to give you a warning. You don't need to pay too close attention to it, but my stepdaughter decided that she wanted to be an architect and went to Syracuse, where they have an architecture program. This was baccalaureate, undergraduate. And they made her work 24 hours a day. I mean, the workload was impossible. And she ended up in fashion design. She could only stick it out. She did fine, but it was just too much. So you should be ready for that, I guess. They really worked hard.
One of my friends, she completed her architecture degree in Spain. And she was like, it's not easy. Like, you'll have to work hard. Like, they'll criticize each and every point that you do, and like you have to keep on changing your design, or if you stick to it, you have to stick to it. You have to be persuasive with your design. It's like they can easily make you doubt your own thoughts, but you have to be like strong-minded and be like, this is the design I did, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I did it.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're prepared for the rigors of architecture school. Anyway, I very much enjoyed your presentation and the way you answered the questions. Does anybody else have any comments? Well, because Adi didn't show up, we actually are going to finish within the hour. That's the first time. So congratulations to both of you. Two great projects. We haven't had any projects like these two in my 6 semesters of doing this this course. So I always like to do something, listen to something totally fresh, and you delivered. So thank you very much, and we'll look forward to getting your 2 papers at the end of the semester.
Yeah,
Meg?
great job. Yeah, great job, both of you. EJ, I think you need to get some sleep now since it's 10 p.m. And just good luck finishing out the semester. Hang in there. We're really proud of your work and proud of you, especially over the last 3 semesters. It's been challenging. So best of luck and stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Maggie, you gonna stay on?
Yes.